Hello, children. A very good morning. Today we're going to study computers. All of you must be knowing what is computers, but you want to be experts in computers. So, to do that, you will have to understand some basics of computers. So, we'll begin with the very basic, and then slowly and slowly, we're going to build upon the information that we have about computers. All right, so let's begin. So, first, we'll understand what is a computer. All of you must have seen an electronic device like a television, a radio, a washing machine. So what is an electronic device? An electronic device is something that works on electricity. Simple. And it has got electronic components, right? So if you look at this figure, if you look at this diagram, it has got electronic components, and it is working it works using electricity. So this is an electronic device. All right, now what is a computer? A computer is an electronic device, right? It works on electricity and it has electronic components. And what does it do? It takes an input. You provide an input using keyboard, right? And then it works on the input. Okay, so it processes the input, it does calculations and mathematical calculations and all sorts of processing it does on the input that you provide. All right, and then it produces what? Output. So this whole process of input and then processing and then output, that is called an IPO cycle. Understood? So uh, a computer is an electronic device, and it has electronic components. It works using electricity, and it works on the IPO cycle. It takes an input, processes the data, and produces the output. And this is what we understand as a computer. Okay, all right, so let's understand this IPO cycle a little more deeply. Okay, so I'll give you an example that I've taken over here, and I will make you understand the IPO cycle using this example. So supposing you want to create a orange juice. Okay, so what are you going to do? You're going to peel off the orange, and you're going to put the slices of orange in the blender, and you're going to put some sugar in it, and you're going to also, if you want, you can add water, but if you don't want, it's up to you. And then you're going to start the blender. So all these things, the slices, the sugar, the water, all these things you can consider as input. Okay, and when you're going to start the blender, it's going to blend, it's going to mix it, so it's going to process it. So this whole thing of blender mixing the juice, that is the processing. And then it when the final juice is ready, you can take it out of the blender, that you can consider as output. So this is a very simple example of orange juice I took to make you understand the IPO cycle. That was very similar to the IPO cycle of computer. You provide the input using the keyboard, and then the CPU works on the input, and then the CPU provides the output which you see on the monitor. So this is the IPO cycle. Okay, here is the IPO cycle. You are providing the input through the CPU, then through the keyboard, and then the CPU works on the input. Now very important point that you see over here, there is a storage also. So while working on the input, it may want to store some of the information in temporary storage. So this is the temporary storage that I have indicated. So CPU is working on the on the data, but it might not need some data, so it stores the data in the temporary storage, and it later gets the data back, and then it produces the output. All right. So and I've also shown an arrow which is going back to the input. So some of the input might be needed for the program to continue further. So this is indicated by this back arrow, but that's not very important. The more important point of this IPU cycle is this input, process, storage, and output. Okay, so I hope you all understand this IPO cycle, and this is the main functionality of the computer. It takes the input, processes it, stores some of the data in temporary memory, retrieves it back, and produces the output. All right. So now let's see what's the soft copy. The output that is produced by the computer, that is in form of an electronic file, and that output is called soft copy. Okay, and when you take a printout of the information that is produced by the computer, that is called a hard copy. All right. So now let's see what is an input. When you are giving instructions to the computer, you give it in form of numbers. You can also type letters. You can draw pictures using mouse, or you can upload a file as input, or you can also provide input using a scanner or a memory card reader. So all this goes into the computer as input, and these are the input devices that I have shown to you. So this is a keyboard. You provide input using keyboard, basic input. You can also draw using a mouse. You can provide input using a joystick, which is generally used to play games, where you provide the input to the mouse, or to the input to the cursor in which direction it should move. Then you also have a scanner. It is used to take a photo of any document, and then we have a webcam. It is used to transmit video of yourself, and then you have a microphone. It is used to transmit your voice. So all these devices are input devices, and then we have this CPU. So what does a CPU do? So once you provide the input to the computer, then CPU works on the input, processes it. It might do mathematical processing, it might do some logical processing, all kinds of processing, or you might have some software which does processing according to the rules that you give to the software. So all this processing is done inside the CPU. So CPU works on the input that you provide. You also provide commands using keyboard to the CPU, and after working on the data, it provides the output. And where is the output displayed, children? So the output is displayed on the monitor. So this is a monitor where the output is displayed, and uh, there can also be other sorry, output devices as well. So the output displayed on the monitor can be printed using a printer, and some of the output can be MPV files, or music files, MP3 or MP4. MP3 are music files, audio files only, and MP4 are audio and video files only. So you can play MP3 files using a speaker, and you can listen to the MP3 music using headphones, and we have the projector. So what does a projector do? It projects your desktop onto the wall. So sometimes you want to display the output to the entire class, or everyone present in the room. So you attach the projector to your desktop or the laptop, and it projects your desktop onto the screen, onto the screen or the wall, and there you can everybody can see what you are doing on your desktop. So that's why a projector is used. And lastly, we look at the storage devices. So what is a secondary storage? So secondary storage is basically used to store the output that is produced by your computer. So for a secondary storage, we have this hard disk. So whatever output you are going to store, that is going to be stored in your hard disk, in the C drive, D drive. Those are the partitions. And then we have the primary memory also. So this memory is used when your program is running or the CPU is processing the data. So while the CPU is processing the data, it might not need some information. So whatever information it does not need, it stores it temporarily in the primary memory, which we also called RAM. And then once it's done, it takes the entire information from the primary memory and displays it on the monitor. So this is why a primary memory is needed, and primary memory needs electricity to work, and as soon as you take away the electricity, the everything is washed away. And after that, let's understand what are the advantages of computers. So you have a lot of advantages. Computer provides high degree of accuracy, and it does a lot of calculations, and it does not make any mistakes. Unlike ourselves, we tend to make some mistakes, but computer doesn't. And it can also work for long hours without any rest. You can work on the computer for the whole day without switching it off, and you can also do many things at the same time. So here we employ the concept of Windows, where a lot of different programs run at the same time. And uh, uh, once you provide the instructions to the computer, it goes on working automatically on the data, so you don't need to worry about the process once the program is running. So these are the advantages of computers. So now let's understand what are the disadvantages of computers. So first of all, a computer needs electricity to work. If there's no electricity, the computer has to stop. Otherwise, it has to run on batteries. And since it works on electricity, it gets heated up, and so you need a lot of cooling. So you inside the computer you have a small fan running, which cools the whole system. And it also computer has effects on our bodies as well. So it provides pain on the wrist, it provides neck pain, it provides eye pain, and you also have a headache if you work on computers for a long time. So small children should not watch computers for more than 1 hour. So be careful, don't see the computers for more than 1 hour. And computers programs also get affected by malicious programs. So these are viruses and worms, and these attack your data and destroy it. So you have to be careful, you have to use antiviruses and things like that. So these are the disadvantages of computers. So in the end, let's sum it up. What is input? Input is the data that we enter into the computer. Then what is process? Processing means when the computer works on the data and it does manipulations and calculations, that's called processing. And then output. Output is the final result that the computer provides you after processing on the data, and the output is provided on the monitor. So today we've learned about the what is a computer and what is an IPO cycle, what is an input, what is a processing, and what is an output. So you need to understand this, and in the next class we will continue with understanding the computer a little more. Okay, so thank you and have a nice day.